What's good with y'all Jets, man? This your boy DBZ Whitefang, and I'm in a building, man. Hey, wait, hold on. Your boy Whitefang in a building, man. Hey, man, back with another video. Today, I got something a little different. Today, man, if you haven't read the title of the video, we're going to be talking about which is better. Super Saiyan 4 from Dragon Ball GT or Super Saiyan 4 from Dragon Ball Daima. Now, there's going to be two categories that I'm going to be comparing these two forms. First category is going to be aesthetic, design, and appearance, and I'm going to be rating it at the end of each segment. And the second segment is going to be discussing the origin of the form. Those are the most two key segments I feel that are important when it comes to comparing the two. So before I go ahead and get into it, y'all already know what it is, man. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button with a time 10 Kamehameha. Start playing. Then make sure you turn on the notification bell so when I do drop, ding, right to your phone. I know you got an iPhone. You is not watching this on no Android, bro. I know you're not doing that. Stop it. You're not watching this on a PlayStation Portable with 240p. You're watching Whitefang at 4K, probably on your TV in your room, in the living room, got the family bundled up together to hear facts. I know how it be. I know how it be. And also, man, leave a comment if you agree with me. If you disagree with me, what you like about the forms from GT, what you liked about the form from Daima. But without further ado, let's get into it. Hey, man, so off the rip, we gotta start with the OG. We gotta start with the OG, Super Saiyan 4 Goku. And taking a look at him, like I said, we're just gonna go over some of the design choices. And off the rip, we gotta start from top to bottom. No diddy. We're gonna start from top to bottom. So off the rip, what I noticed with this design, hair is black. Now, to me, that's fire. Like, off the rip, the black hair is fire because usually with the Saiyan transformations, we get the golden hair, right? So for them to switch it up, you know what? Let's go black hair this time. And just the way Goku's hair is shaped, like with the hair coming down his chest, the spikiness and the bangs going in different directions, it's fire because you kind of get the vibe that his hair, like his original hair when he's in base form, is still there, but it's just more primal. And I could appreciate that. That's fire. And they kept the theme of matching the hair with the eyebrows, which his eyebrows is black, just like his hair, which is fire. Then you got the Tufa. Gave my dog the yellow, not the yellow, bugging out. Gave my dog the red eyeliner, which is hard, like with the yellow pupils, the black eyes. I said the yellow pupils, the yellow eyes with the black pupils. And to complement, we gotta talk about the biggest part of it, the red fur. The red fur is like a chef's kiss. Like, it brings out that primal nature of it because this is the first time we ever see fur attached outside of the grade 8 transformation. The only time you can kind of see it is when their chest is beating and they first turn into start transforming to a grade 8. That's the only time you can really see like their bodies without being transformed with having fur on it. Aside for the tail, obviously. And I feel like the decision to make it bright red after coming out of the golden Ozuru transformation, the decision to make the fur red, to make it pop out, to make you see the fur, was just fire. Because they easily could have just made it like brown, just like the regular grade 8 transformation. But to actually make it red was like, I don't know who idea that was specifically. Like I said, I don't know who designed this, but whoever thought, like in a booth, in a writing studio, like, know what we should do? Make his fur red, bro. Y'all was cooking, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie, whoever that, like, this is your form. Like, even if you ain't designed nothing else, bro, you had that idea, but this just might be your shit, bro. I ain't gonna lie, but that's too hard, bro. Like, that's too tough. And then on top of that, we got the blue wristbands. They kind of tealish wristbands, and we got the fur going past all the way down, like to his wrist, which I think is fire, to keep the monkey aspect and the great, graded aspect, and the primal nature aesthetic, which I think is fire. Wristbands, I think the color fits well with the fur for some odd reason. It just does. I don't think it seems out of place at all. You got the blue belt to match the blue things that's towards the bottom of his pants, which I think is a part of his shoes, which are jet black, which is, when Goku don't have on the martial art like royal blue shoes, he dripped out, bro. Just look at the end of Z-Fit in his base GT Goku outfit. Whenever Goku got the black shoes on, you know he's swagging. Like, it's just what it is. And then you got the golden, like, kind of, I don't know, kind of like dingy, like golden type of pants, which I think is fire. It pops out a lot. And even though there's nothing like else to go with it, the fact that it's kind of dingy makes the red even pop out even more. So, not gonna lie, man, the whole aesthetic with the tail too being red as well, like everything just fits well together. Like everything put together, I feel like every detail of this form was thought out, down from the hair to the eyes to the color. Like you can tell they put a thought into every aspect of this form. And I had to rate it just off of everything that I listed. I had to put OG Super Saiyan 4 from GT. I gotta put it at a 10 out of 10. Like, it's damn near perfect. I'm not gonna lie, out of all the forms that Goku have or has had up until now, the way that they looked, this definitely is the best one. Like, this definitely is the best one. If you heard my computer go off, I apologize. It do need to get put on the charger, I forgot. But, and I'll do that in a second. But yeah, to me, it's a 10 out of 10. I think this is, up until this point, I'm gonna get into that one later. We're just talking about this form. If we didn't know Daima existed, and we just going 1 through 4, and I'll include Ultra Instinct in there as well. If you just going based off all those forms, I think this has the best, and obviously Super Saiyan Blue and God, I'm including those as well. I think this is the best looking form and the most unique. So that's another reason why it gets additional points, as far as the design aesthetic being unique and close to the Saiyan heritage aspect in terms of looks. But yeah, like I said, 10 out of 10. We're gonna go ahead and dive into Super Saiyan 4 Daima Goku's design now. Alright man, so jumping into Super Saiyan 4 Daima Goku, there's a lot of things that I like off the rip, not gonna lie. One of the things that I really like is how long his hair is. Now, compared to the other Goku, it's not that much longer, but it is a little bit longer. And you know, whenever Goku has long hair, he gonna look fire. Especially with how spiky it is. That's one of the reasons we like Super Saiyan 3. Not saying that the hair spikiness is anything close to Super Saiyan 3, but I feel like Goku with long spiky hair is always gonna just look fire. And then on top of that, it has really kind of the same spiky aesthetic as the OG, so it's not too much different there. But it is red in this form, which I think is, I like the red. Like the color of red that they chose to use, which I don't even know what kind of red that is. It's like damn near velvet, but I do think it's tough. Like it's like a reddish velvet, if anything. And I do think it's tough. I do think it fit the aesthetic of where they were fighting, which I'm gonna get into also in a bit. So I do like that. I also like the fur as well. I see here they went with a more interesting choice of putting like hair into the pecs towards the middle a little bit, which I thought was pretty cool. I don't know, if it makes it feel more ape-like to me, and especially with, I guess, today's like, you know, animation. I feel like they made the fur in certain scenes, you know what I'm saying, in certain pictures and captures of what I'm looking at anyways, which I also have up on the screen for you to see. I also think they made the fur look a lot more like fur, which I think is pretty cool. Now, I do have to nitpick one thing as far as the fur. I don't like the fact that, I do like the fact that his hands are enlarged. I think it's very, you know, ape-like, with the hands being bigger than the rest of the body. I think that's pretty cool. The only thing that I don't like about that though, or how they did this, I would have much preferred if the fur went all the way down to his wrist, like the original. Because to me, it just seems a lot more ape-like in terms of it being close to the golden, not the golden, but just the Zuru transformation in general, like the great ape. I think it would be a lot better if they did it that way. I don't like the enlarged hands and then showing a lot of skin. It just feels off to me. And then he still has the orange pants that he had. To me, the orange kind of works against the kind of red that it is, and there's no belt. So you really don't know what's holding up the orange pants. The fact that there is no belt and we're used to seeing Goku with a belt is very off-putting. Like, Shout out Jennifer Lawrence. If you caught that, you caught that. But yeah, it's very off-putting. Like I don't think it works well with what they're trying to pitch and what's going on. It looks like he's wearing pants that shouldn't fit because the pants are like puffy. So if you're gonna have puffy pants, I just think a belt to hold up the puffy pants would make more sense. I don't know. It's just something odd about that whole thing going on, that he has orange puffy pants with no belt. It's just something weird. I'm just not feeling it. The wristband colors are cool to match the shoes. I think that was a good choice, making the shoes blue along with the wristbands. I think that was pretty cool. Just to go back up towards the top, little Diddy again. I don't like how the eyebrows, the eyes, and the eyeliner around the eyes are all the same color as his fur and hair. To me, it's a bit lazy. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't look bad per se. I just think it takes away the effect of it being or feeling unique because everything's the same color. I feel like with the original Super Saiyan 4, it had a lot more going for it because you can see they were trying their hardest to make different things about the transformation pop out in terms of the color scheme. And I feel like with this one, the color pattern being more bland because a lot of the things are the same color. Like his tail's the same color, the fur on his body is the same color, the eyes are the same color, the eyebrows the same color, the eyeliner is essentially the same color, the hair is the same color. I just feel like they didn't take any creative liberties as far as delivering something more grand-esque, which I feel like this transformation was supposed to be, especially being that it's essentially, you know, Toriyama's envisioned canon, quote-unquote, I say canon, version of, you know, Super Saiyan 4. So I feel like it's a letdown in that aspect. And I think a lot of the reason why this form for me is lacking as well is just the background aesthetic working against the form, because the form has a certain hinge of redness and velvetness to it, as to where the background is orange red. So I feel like it's a lot of red popping out at your eyes at one time, which is kind of working against you. So I think maybe if we saw the form in a different type of background with, you know, like the skies or maybe outer space, I feel like this form could really pop out as far as a color scheme. But with everything being one color and then the background also being, you know, reddish orange, I think it's also working against the form. So on that scale, I do think it looks very cool still. I don't think the form looks bad by any means. But if I'm going to grade it as far as aesthetics and looks, I'm going to give it an 8.5. I think the base of the original Super Saiyan 4 is still there. A lot of it is still there, but I just think the color scheme that they chose to represent this form and this transformation, it holds it down, holds it back a little bit. So in terms of look and aesthetic, color scheme, design, I'm going to give it, I'm going to give it an 8.5. I think 8.5 is solid. Still good, still a good form. The original, in terms of look, is just better. So that covered the first segment in terms of look and aesthetic. Now we're going to get into segment 2 of how the story was told for the transformations to be. We're going to start off with GT Goku. So just starting out with the writing aspect and the storytelling of how Super Saiyan 4 and GT came to be. I think a lot of the things that I like about that transformation is not only with the appearance, but through the storytelling as well. They tried to get the Saiyans back to their primal roots as far as being an ape, which for me, and I think a lot of Dragon Ball fans, like Saiyans being like apes are like one of the things that we like most about Saiyans, you know, having the tail turning into a great ape before we had the Super Saiyan transformation. It was just something about a Saiyan having a tail that just made them feel, you know, unique and different and otherworldly. And I think with them bringing back that transformation through that aspect, not bringing back the transformation or, you know, exploring that transformation through that aspect with having Goku turn into a golden great ape which is something we never seen with Goku before. We've seen him turn into a great ape in the original Dragon Ball, and then for him to be, you know, turned into a kid in GT, get his tail back, and then transform into a golden great ape, I think that was already unique in itself. And then there's only one gripe that I really have with that storytelling, and I think is Goku using the moon, the Earth as a moon to, you know, create those blood swaves to become a great ape. I think that was kind of an ass pull. That just doesn't make sense. They never used like another planet as a moon. It's always just been either a moon or something that emits the same energy as a moon, like Vegeta created the burst open and mix little thing that he did, that, you know, created the same effect that gave the brute waves for him to turn into a great ape. I just think that Goku looking at the moon, looking at the Earth and treating it as a moon was just an ass pull, and that aspect I didn't like. But everything else, him turning into a great ape, and then him having to gain control over his mind and not just be a rampaging beast, and him seeing Pan to do that, and her convincing him to actually, you know, calm down, and then seeing his face slowly and his body slowly transform from a beast back towards being a human, but with still, you know, ape features. I think that was just fire. Like, I think it don't get no more fire than that as far as how they executed it. Like I said, they could have made it just the moon. I don't know why they made it the Earth. It could have just been a moon, but they made it the Earth, and I get it. You know, he missed home, which is, you know, it was a lot more emotional too. I think the emotion that they conveyed in that moment with Goku transforming was something that in GT you really didn't feel up until that moment. So I think the build up forward, or just that missing factor from GT, also played a hand on how emotional it was and how much you remembered how Goku cared about. Because, you know, Goku is always going to show anger and stuff towards and for his granddaughter, but actually seeing Pan cry and him, you know, missing his home and all those things playing a factor of him, you know, calming his mind and getting control over his mind and not just rampaging, I think that was just a nice little touch. And it's so funny how we see him as a kid turn into a beast, right? You start seeing his chest pumping, his pupils change color, he starts to get fur, and he turns into a great ape. I like the fact how they did the reverse when he goes into Super Saiyan 4. The great ape features starts to get, you know, smaller and smaller, and then you see him still, you know, more human-like, but with ape features. I think that was just great. So as far as the storytelling for how the transformation actually happened, I honestly think it's solid. It's actually a good story, one of the strongest story points in GT. I'm going to give it a 9.7. I'm not going to give it a 10, maybe a 9.5, because I really don't like that whole aspect of him looking at Earth as if it was a moon. I can see why they tried to go that route. Like I said, I understand what they tried to do, but it's the Earth, the moon. The correlation just didn't match, and I think they missed on that mark. But everything else was executed perfectly. I'm not gonna lie, like, I don't think it could have been written any better. So I thought that was fire, and the opponent in which he was facing for those circumstances to be built up for it to happen, I thought it was fire. So my rating for how that happened is going to be 9.5. And with that, we're going to get into how Super Saiyan 4 Daima Goku became a Super Saiyan 4 as a kid, and then we're going to talk about how he became a Super Saiyan 4 as an adult. So let's talk about it. So with Super Saiyan 4 Daima Goku, he has two Super Saiyan 4, or he went Super Saiyan 4 twice. One as a kid, which we never seen with the original, you know, Super Saiyan 4 transformation in GT, which I was going to cover the kid version and the adult version, but the design but they're more or less the same. One's just taller, one's just smaller, one looks like a child, one looks like a man. I don't think it's that big of a deal. The details are still exactly the same. So to get into the story, they're fighting against Goma, you know, the king of the demon realm, and they're taking a thrashing. I'm not gonna lie, they're getting their ass beat. Like, they're going through it. Goku's went from 1 to 2 to 3 as a, you know, while he was, you know, in his mini form, you know, turned into a child, and it just wasn't cutting it. He got laid down, and then the Namekian, I think his name is Neva, if I'm not mistaken, the Namekian Neva went up to him and did something with his hand, you know, awakened Super Saiyan 4. Now, to me, that execution is very lackluster. Like, let's just be for real. I know Toriyama is the GOAT. I'm not trying to dispute or, be, nasty towards his work. He's still a GOAT. But at the same time, I gotta be honest, the execution for Super Saiyan 4 in that moment was trash. Trash. Especially compared to the original. It just didn't make sense for Neva to awaken any Saiyan powers. Like, we know Namekians have the potential, they have the ability to awaken potentials, like unleash potentials within fighters. We know that. We've seen it with Gohan, with Elder Guru. We did it for Krillin and Gohan. So in that aspect, that makes sense. But to unleash an entire transformation that's based in the Saiyan roots to where they get a tail and, all those things, to me, it just didn't make sense. Like, why would Namekians have the ability to tap into the potential of a Saiyan? Like, to me, Super Saiyan 4 is the closest you can get to being an actual Saiyan. Like, Super Saiyan, with the golden hair and stuff, but when you actually have your tail, and Goku didn't even have a tail when he got turned into the mini version of himself as a kid in Daima. So he brought the tail back, which is like a Saiyan thing. It just, to me, I just didn't understand the correlation. It just didn't make sense. And it felt very much like an ass pull. Like, we know you wanted this, here you go. There was no build up for it. It was meant purely for shock value, obviously to make it canon and fan service. But fan service is cool, which is what Dragon Ball is a lot of these days, which is cool. But I think it didn't work for it in that moment when you tried to have something, that grand as far as that transformation delivered. I think they could have done it in a number of ways to where that could have worked, and I just think the execution fell very poorly. But not as poor as what I'm about to get into next, which is the adult version of that. So essentially, Goku is going through his transformations, just like he did against Majin Buu, showing off Super Saiyan 1, 2, and 3. And then he says something along the lines that here's a little extra, or another level, or something else. And he transforms into Super Saiyan 4. Now, keep in mind, Goku has no tail during this time. Even when he got turned back into an adult after being a kid, he exited out of Super Saiyan 4. He went back to base and he, got turned into an adult. He never had a tail at this time. So for him to just all of a sudden transform into a transformation that he has a tail, he has fur, it just was even worse as far as execution than him, going Super Saiyan 4 the first time as a mini version that he was originally in. And I think I like the fact that Namekian awakened the power more, because at least you have an external force applying something to make it happen, as to where Goku transforms, and then we later found out that this is something that he trained for, and we just have to make the assumption that Neva is the one that unlocked it, because Goku wasn't sure if he was capable of doing it or not. Which, like I said, it feels very much like an ass pull. Like, we don't have much of a way to really explain why Goku has this, but we know the fans want it. We know it's a love transformation, so here you go. So the execution on the form, I'm definitely going to rate it a 5 out of 10. It's trash. I didn't like anything about it except for Goku going from 1 to 3, and then when he was transforming from 3 to 4, I thought, the intensity of that, like, of him transforming was cool, but the actual story writing behind it was just bare bones, a lackluster, no thought put into it, and it leaves a lot of plot holes that people try to fix up. If Daima were to be canon, which we know is like an alternate version of the events after Buu. So I don't think it was that great. But now that we have the results for those two segments, I'm already sure you guess which form I'm going to pick is better as far as aesthetic and writing. GT takes the cake, bro. That's not even close. It's not even close. Maybe in terms of design, you can make an argument for preference, because like I said, some people actually like the color scheme for Daima Super Saiyan 4. I just think that it's not as creative because of, you know, the color scheme is the same, you know, throughout the transformation. That's something I really did not like. Goku still looks cool. I do think it's still a cool looking transformation. It's hard to not look cool when you got, you know, fur on your body with a tail, with spiky hair, with different collages. It's hard not to make Goku look cool. So I think Goku still looks cool. I do think it still keeps the core aspects of Super Saiyan 4, but I just think that the original was just executed better as far as creativity and just writing. But if you agree with me, man, let me know down in the comments and tell me why you agree with me. If you don't agree, let me know why you don't agree. And if you have anything you disagree with as far as my reasoning, let me know down in the comments as well. But it's been White Fang. Thanks for watching. I'm out of here.